Hey, we're trying to answer the age-old question, do you fix up what you have, or do you buy a new one? Here are 5 upgrades for under $50. Let's check it out. Now, if you can afford the good stuff, get the good stuff. Get the name brands. When I upgraded from a no-name to a Gibson, it was a world of difference. And then I went up another tier from there to a 60 reissue, and it was another night and day difference in terms of playability and sound and the look and feel and all that. But if you're thinking about upgrading from a $300 guitar to a $400 guitar, there's really not a ton of difference. You might have some different features, you might get a little bit better quality, but really it's not exactly worth it. So when do you upgrade? When do you get a new one? Well, if you've got something you like the look of, the feel of, you like the way it plays, here are some upgrades you can do. A buddy of mine gave me this PV Predator. It's made in the USA, and I instantly fell in love with it. The neck is incredible. It's a really good playing neck. This is my go-to right now. I've got a Gibson sitting in a Gibson 60 reissue sitting in the case, and I love to play it, but I don't want to wear it out. I don't want to bump it against stuff. So this is what I play all the time, and I've only put $75 into this guitar. So let's check out some of the upgrades. First thing is Fender locking tuners. You can pick these up on Amazon for around $50. And locking, what does that mean? It has these little knobs on the back, and you unscrew it, and all you have to do is put the string through, and then you go ahead and cut it off, and you tighten this down, and it makes those string changes really quick, because instead of having to wind it all the way around, you just poke it through and it locks down. And they've got a good ratio. They're pretty smooth. They stay in tune. Even with the tremolo, they stay in tune pretty well. So a lot of guitars, this was made in the USA in the 90s, and it was around $300 then. If you see one of these, it's worth picking up. I really like this one. But anyway, the thing that they do to cut cost on these guitars is they use cheap hardware that's made, who knows where it's manufactured, but they use cheap hardware to keep the cost down. And so that's a pretty easy upgrade. A lot of your guitars will come with something like this. This is more of a vintage style, and you notice it's the same width all the way up and down the post here. And the Fender ones, it has about a 3/8 inch post about halfway up, and so it's not going to fit on most of your guitars, but it's a pretty easy fix as long as you're comfortable with your cheap guitar. In case something goes wrong, I definitely start there. Go get one from a pawn shop or something to practice on first. But actually I got lucky on one of my guitars, an Indie Custom. I put some Fender locking tuners on it, and when I pulled off the old ones, the Fender fit right in, so I got kind of lucky there. But you need, this is a 3/8 inch wood bit here, or you can use one about the same size, a regular drill bit, and you might have to kind of route it out a little bit. You want it to be tight, a snug fit, but you want it to go all the way through. It's okay if it's a little loose, you can tighten it down, but that's a pretty easy upgrade for about $50. The Fender ones don't have on the back any screws. They have 2 posts that are roughly 1/8 of an inch or so, and maybe smaller, don't quote me on that. They're pretty small, so you get a small drill bit about the same size, and there are 2 of them, and so I would mark the place that it would go and just kind of get it squared up as close as I can, mash it down, and you can kind of see the indentations, and you drill 2 holes. And the way you make sure you don't go too far you can take your drill bit and figure out the length that you need to go into the wood, and then put some painter's tape or electrical tape, any kind of tape on it to mark your spot, and that way when you drill in you know when to stop. And so you just put that on, get a hex tool, a wrench, and tighten it down, and within 30-45 minutes you've got yourself something that stays in tune. Next thing I did to this is one of the pickups was going in and out, and it came with ceramic pickups. That's another way they cut costs back in the day. And so I wanted to go with some Alnico. I got on Amazon and I found a loaded pick guard with Alnico 5 pickups with a humbucker in the bridge position for $26. It took a while to get here, but if you put I would put this thing up against a Fender as far as the sound. I love it. It really sounds good. Is it a Fender? No, but it's much better than it was before. And yes, there's a little bit of irony in putting a made in China pickups on a USA guitar, but like I said, a lot of the components are made in other places anyway, so it really is a international collaboration in terms of putting all the pieces together. But love these pickups. They're warm. they've got clarity, and it was super easy to install. Let's look at what you need to install some of these pickups. This is a soldering iron kit that I got off Amazon for about $40. If you've never used one of these before, it's a little scary at first, but you want it at about 400 degrees. It comes with a little stand. Just make sure there's nothing flammable around. It does get very hot, and you want to practice it. This one came with some wire and then your solder wire here, and you want to practice just putting two pieces of wire together. You can heat up whatever you're going to put the solder on first. Just touch it to it. It doesn't take very long. You don't want to fry the components, but then just touch a little bit of this to it, and you kind of feel like you need 3 or 4 hands to accomplish it, but within a few minutes you've got a brand new guitar, new sounding. It's a fun, easy way, cheap way to upgrade your sound. If you've got a guitar that you like how it plays, you like how it feels, you like how it looks, you just want to improve the sound, new pickups is a really easy way to do that. So you can, in terms of wiring, the easy way is if the pickups that you buy, use your existing wiring. The common problem with cheap guitars is the frets. You get these rough edges, and it can really distract you from your playing when your hand feels like you're going to get cut. So an easy way to do this, as long as you have a fretboard that's not finished, you won't even notice that you've done anything if you take a sanding block that you have around your house. If you've ever done drywall or anything, there's a smoother side to that. You can take it at a 45-degree angle, and that will take a little bit of the edge off your fretboard, but it'll also get rid of that unwanted fret edge that's poking out a little too far. And so you want to take special care, make sure you don't get any metal flakes sticking to your magnetic pickups. So important to tape that off, put some paper on there. It can really help you avoid some unwanted dirt and grime that gets stuck in there. So tape that off first. You might want to take the strings off, but you can do it without it. Just kind of push them to the side. But 45-degree angle, and then you can finish it off with either some fine sandpaper or some steel wool. If you use the steel wool, definitely tape off the pickups because it'll make a big mess. But that can take a guitar that's feels cheap and make it feel expensive. Really easy to do. If you've got a finish on your neck, if you're okay with going for the relic look, it can discolor it a little bit, but if you've got rosewood or maple, or this one I think is Jatoba, something like that without any finish on it, you can barely even notice. Now it will take a little bit off the edge, but it also will round that off and make it a little more comfortable as well. So do it lightly and slowly and patiently, but it can really make a big difference in overall playability on a cheap guitar. Here's a guitar I love the look and feel of, but it had a problem. I would play it, and if I wanted to switch the bridge pickup, it would just go in and out, and you could wiggle it and it would kind of make this weird uncomfortable noise there, and I'm like, what's going on? What do I do here? Well, I finally figured out it was the switch. It was a $12 part. This is the one that came out of it, and I replaced it with a Fender. $12. Replaced it with an authentic Fender switch. Pretty easy to solder things on the ends. A little bit difficult to figure out the wiring, but I've got a video up here if you want to check out the details of how to install a real Fender switch on a Squire. But now it works like a charm. I'm thinking about upgrading the pickups on these, getting some of those original vintage tone 52s. That could really make a big difference. Haven't done it yet, but yeah, if you like your guitar, if you like the way it looks and like the way it plays, then this is the way to go. Last thing I want to say, if you've got a Les Paul especially, you want to get some Straplocks for here. That's a cheap upgrade. It's going to save you from dropping those things. The design on it, not made for just a normal strap and the position and where it is. So get some Straplocks. It's a really cheap upgrade. All you need is a screwdriver, and you can install those and save yourself a lot of heartache along the way. Thanks for tuning in. If you've made it this far, like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know if I've helped you along the way, if you've tried any of these things, or if you're thinking about trying them. I can respond and let you know if I've heard anything about those particular parts, or if you have any questions about how to do some of these things. It can really make a big difference for just a little bit of money, revitalize your playing. So hey, have fun, keep playing.